You may have been feeling a kind of Frankenstein assortment of emotions over the last few days. So this can be anything from like overwhelm to exhaustion, stress, reactive, salty, edgy, angry, but then also okay, And that's because we've come straight back into the root chakra. So this is another Kundalini Alchemy update, our mother tongue, the language of the Great Mother's myth game. And we've just gone through June solstice, right? And at solstice point, we reach the crown chakra. And how that plays in our lives is that we have this kind of renewal feeling. We get insight, inspiration, clarity, there's lightness. So crown chakra is a very subtle form of the mother's energy, right? It's light and rejuvenating. And then as we come out of crown chakra, we come straight back into the root, which is the earth. Right down into the base. And it's designed that way because these realizations, this kind of renewal inspiration we had around the solstice moment, now has to be put into the materiality of the earth, right? So in alchemy and the original Egyptian Christian tradition, we are bringing consciousness into matter. That's the sign of the cross. It's consciousness into the material plane. So we have this great consciousness moment at the crown chakra at solstice, just before, around there, insight, and now boom, straight into the root, because we must bring consciousness into matter. In Gnosticism, that's what it is. We're not attaining some heavenly form after death. We are attaining our heavenly form in the corporeal body of matter, right? So we get thrust back into the root chakra because now we have to be like, like a kind of zombie movie, right? Where these emotions are coming through because we've had insight about what's not working for us. We've had insight about kind of where we want to go, what inspires us, where we need reciprocity, where there is balance, where there is truth, where our needs are being met. And now we get thrust back into the root chakra, the place of the dark mother, right? Kali mother rules the root chakra, or Ereshkigal in the Near East tradition, right? The dark goddess rules the root because when we break through into matter, the root, which is also ruled by Saturn, right? The cube, the square of matter, the constraints of matter. Here we are back in the root chakra, and all our realizations are like, come now, bring this consciousness back into the earth. And that's why it's ruled by the dark goddess, because bringing consciousness into matter is not pretty. It's not a pretty sight. And, I've said this many times on this page, but allowing for our dark expressions, our big emotions, and not judging those aspects of ourselves, because they will automatically, by nature and by design, come out at this time of year, because that's the dark mother archetype in ourselves, trying to break through ignorance or the density of matter, right? The square of Saturn, the root. I'm trying to break through what you're not seeing here. And it gets messy. Sometimes when you don't see something for so long, maybe there hasn't been reciprocity in certain areas of life. You have an episode, right? You're like, "Wah!" And there's a kind of reactivity energy that comes out, because that's the dark mother in us trying to protect and show your inner Christ child, like, look, this is not working for us. The reaction and the big emotion and the discomfort and those feelings aren't bad. Those are very clear signals from the dark mother aspect within your own psyche of where you may be betraying yourself and what needs to be tweaked in your material world. So the root, when we come back into the root, we are reorienting in material reality, right? You might be like shifting locations, vocations, shifting in and out of connections with physical people. So physical things need to shift and change when we come back into the root. And that physical shift and change is dark mother territory, right? And I said this in fellowship the other night. The cosmic mothers, the star mothers like Lakshmi or the Virgin Mother or Ishtar, those more subtle forms of energy, the more gracious forms of the Holy Mother, right? She can't cut into the root. Oh, no, she can't do the job of bringing it into the material. Only the dark mother can do that. only the Dark Mother can bring our realizations into the material of earth and cut through the stone and go through the discomfort and help us to our way through it, right? We have that aspect of the cosmic star mother with us all the time. And that's the compassion that we would hold for ourselves while having root expressions, right? So certainly not to judge oneself when there's impropriety. No judgment of that, because that is a clear message, and it's the logos of the feminine. The divine feminine is a form of the logos, right? Or gnosis. And she speaks in many sort of subterranean ways. Dream, symbol, these kinds of things, including physical reactivity and emotional sensation and reactivity, right? And we're in the terrain of fundamentalist religion when we start moralizing good emotions and bad emotions, or good expressions and bad expressions. And when we moralize those aspects of the self, we are then actually creating division in the self. That is sin. The act of moralizing what is good or bad is sin, because that creates a split in the psyche, right? So it's very important when we're at the root chakra space and as we're moving into the sacrum and Manipura for the next 3 months of this journey, we're in the dark, we're in the cave, we're in the terrain of the dark goddess. So that means we need to be compassionate and just in awareness of these difficult expressions and lean into them to feel into what they are asking you to do. Because the Dark Mother, Kalima, is the protector of children, right? So that great reaction or discomfort you may be feeling is because there's that aspect of you is trying to protect your inner child. And you need that aspect of you. That aspect of you is protecting your inner child. So lean into it and just watch it happening. You know, when I have my little reactivities and my moments, I'm not there going like, oh, Jane, you're being the worst. Oh my God, this is so improper. No way. The mother in me, star mother in me, is watching myself. And I'm like, oh, look at Jen. What is she up to? Look at her having a little episode here. Jeez, she's having a little angry episode, you know, and I'll be like a sweet mother to myself. Because there's a little child in all of us that's acting out because it wants freedom and it wants to be acknowledged and it wants wholeness and it wants its reality shifted so that it's not in a place of betrayal anymore, self-betrayal, self-abandonment, right? So just be a loving parent to that part of yourself. And that's how I get through root phases of the year. So I'd love to know if you guys are feeling this kind of Frankenstein emotional space, and kind of like a rugged feeling, coming back into earth, back into root. Okay, got to bring that realization into matter now. So I'd love to hear from you, just if you're feeling this. I love hearing if people are feeling this. Sending love.